Dave Palumbo with RxMuscle.com. We are here at the 2013 NPC USA Championships, and I'm here with Chris, the technician Aceto, and Louis Uridell, and we're going to do the final wrap-up and assessments of the entire weekend. Chris, this was an interesting USA Championships in that I think it was a little unpredictable in who we thought might win here and who got some of the pro cards to go home with, but it was a huge show. It had to be close to 1,000 competitors. They did move the show rather quickly, which is good. It was actually also I guess a reconciliation weekend of sorts, because you and Jay Cutler met for the first time. I know you've been talking on the phone. He hired you again to help him for the Olympia, and we got a chance to see you guys interacting with each other. What any brilliant words of wisdom did you give to him?
Keep doing what you're doing, and I think when people, saw him tonight, you yourself included, would you say that he's? He
said he gained 20 pounds in a week since he's been working with you.
Yeah, 20 pounds. So we got 9 left.
Did you wave the magic wand at him?
Wave the Bob Gruskin wand on him, and the idea is that he's going to try to still fill out in the next few weeks, and we
looks like he's on the right track.
He's on the right track, and he's lean. And I think he'll post up some pictures probably within a month, and I think people are going to be stunned.
I'm looking forward to it. Let's talk about Max Charles, our men's super heavyweight and overall champion here tonight. We talked about Max Charles when the predictions show as being the guy probably to beat here since Anthony Pasquale did not show up. Was Max Charles everything that you had expected?
Tonight he was. It's amazing the transformation this guy made in one day, 2-day show. He for his frame, he was big and round in prejudging and in good condition. Didn't have like wacky wow factor that I expected. Tonight he looked like he gained 12 pounds since the prejudging. And
he was getting better as he was posing as the night went on too.
The side chest tonight and the hands on hips really distinguished himself from the other guys in terms of just championship quality, like gnarly muscle. He was definitely the deserving winner tonight in terms of a professional look.
A lot of people don't realize that Max Charles had not eaten for over 24 hours prior to prejudging, so he was a little flat. He did fill out, like you said, he'll probably be on Monday look the best he's ever looked. But he did enough here to win tonight. Talk to me a little bit about what kind of, when you look at Max Charles on stage, what grabs your eye?
I'd say the first thing is his upper body. Really pops out. He's got really round, full muscle bellies. Got strong. His shoulders really pop out big. He's a front lat spread. Legs didn't really match up to their body, but I didn't think it really mattered. I think his overall shape and fullness and muscularity pulled through on that one.
His legs are not weak. They're not great, but they're not weak. They have detail.
They're like Troy legs.
They're Troy House legs.
Yeah, they are. They're separated. They're separated, and when he's has enough fullness in them like he did tonight. I think they were flat yesterday, so they were distracting. Yeah. And I think they were extremely flat in his previous outing, and that's what killed him. Today he had more fullness in them, and they separate good, and they're not as big as the upper body, but they're not distracting. Really.
I think when Max Charles stood next to Rafael Jaramillo, who was the heavyweight champion in that overall pose down, we got a chance to see why Max was so dominant, because he made Jaramillo look small.
Yeah, he did, and which surprised me, because when Jaramillo won the class, I thought he may actually take the overall.
Me too.
I thought he has definitely a better back, double bicep, and back lat spread than Max. So I figured that would nullify a lot of Max's advantages. But when you see a real heavyweight against a real super versus a real heavy, you see the distinction in terms of the mass. And then of course, like Lou said, when he does the hands on hips, he looks crazy.
When I told Max when I interviewed him that I thought that Jaramillo was a little tighter from behind, he said, absolutely not. I don't agree. I think I had him beat from behind and from the front. You agree with that statement?
I'm the last guy to ask, because I actually had Max Charles in second for the super heavyweight. So
who'd you have first?
I had Dusty Hinshaw, who got third.
Thank God he's not a judge, because he's always wrong, Chris.
Well, Max Charles should be thanking me for his win, because everyone I pick to lose wins. So.
That's right. Talk to me about Max Charles. Was he as conditioned as Jaramillo from behind?
I mean, Jaramillo was really tight and really detailed. In the heavyweights, that's one thing when I first saw him come out, or in prejudging, I was like, man, this guy is really built well. Really cut, really shredded. Max Charles, I mean, it's like he's so much big and so full that he kind of looks a little more conditioned, because the fullness and the muscles pop out so much. But I think that Jaramillo is maybe a little drier, so it kind of popped a little more.
Harrell is one of these guys that, like, if you catch him on the right day, he's a showstopper, movie star, win at the Olympia, and he sometimes, I think he has a problem peaking his body.
He does, because how many times have we seen him? I've seen him multiple times and said, this guy could be great. Right. And it's really, this is the first show where he has really fulfilled, the potential that he's had. And even in prejudging, as you know, he was really flat. But he still looked good like the class winner.
Hines, a senior who trains him, said that he has trouble making the weight. So they have to really suck him down hard to make the 225 cutoff. And then it's hard to fill him up, obviously. Now, Harrell Miller is going to go into the Tampa Pro Show in 2 weeks where he won't have to make a weight class. Do you think I'm asking you for a prediction. Will we see a even better Harrell Miller, or will we see a worse Harrell Miller?
Well, we'll probably see my gut is we'll see a worse, because
we'll try to come in too big.
Yeah, because the beauty of a weight class is it demands that most people come in condition because they have to make the weight. So the danger is, the idea, it can be delusional if you think like, okay, I'm going to be fuller than the weight, because now I don't have to make the weight class, and you end up being, not quite as in shape as you are here. And guys like him have to understand that bodybuilding is the art of illusion. And
what's the theme of the weekend?
It's miracles.
Burn fat.
Burn fat.
You got to come in shape. That's it. Let's talk about burning fat, because Kevin O'Furum in that light heavyweight class burned a lot of fat from last year. Donnie Long was helping him out. They knew that the conditioning was his thorn in his side. They brought the conditioning. He gets his pro card. He was a little upset because I think Sean Ray had kind of dissed the light heavyweight class as not being up to snuff or not being a difficult class. I thought it was a very difficult class, and I thought that O'Furum dominated that class and rightly so got his pro card.
Yeah, he looked great. He has big, thick, dense muscle. Looks like he's been training for years. Great side chest, really good front double bicep, best condition he's been in a long time. Don Long wins the Chris Aceto Guru of the Weekend award because he had all his guys were winning. Sure. And this guy was, he's got to be thrilled, because the knock has always been, you got to be in shape, And I'm sure like a lot of people, you as a bodybuilder, you say, but I am in shape because you work so hard.
Sure.
And in this case,
he nailed it.
And when someone like him with a lot of mature muscle nails it, he distanced himself easy from the other competitors.
Well, all the weight class winners get their pro card, and Max Charles wins the overall. Let's talk about the women's physique overall. My good friend, Justin Miller, who is married to Arita Penteada, who is originally from Brazil. She won pretty much every New York show as a bodybuilder. She switched to women's physique. She just got her citizenship, I guess, in the last couple of months. She comes into the USA Championships, first time, wins the overall. Talk to me about what you liked about her physique.
She's tall, which helps for in presentation. She's got nice shoulders, nice flow to her body. The only critical knock is she could be tighter in the lower body.
Absolutely.
Because there's a big difference right now. I mean, there's a big difference in bodybuilders in the NPC versus professional bodybuilders, but there seems to be a huge distance right now between women's physique, who are winning at the amateur level, even at a high-level, incredible show like this, and what I just saw in Chicago. That was there's miles.
Yeah,
so
I
although
agree.
She's a new pro,
another Brazilian though.
Yeah.
You got Juliana Malacarne, you got Karina Nascimento, and you got Arita Penteada.
It's three of them. Yeah.
How do you think? And Patricia Mello, right? How do you think Rita will do come Tampa Pro in 2 weeks? Because she's jumping right into the mix.
I knew a couple of girls in that Tampa Pro, and they were in the top 5 of the Chicago Pro. And these girls were.
Isn't Sabrina Taylor doing that?
She's not doing that show.
No, she's not doing that.
She's doing the Olympia.
Oh.
But Andrea Halliday and Nicole Ball were both in that show in the top 5. Sure. And Nicole Ball is big, full muscles, and she was very lean. Andrea Halliday is super dry. I mean, and these are girls that weren't placing as high.
Right.
The girls there were shredded. They were in condition of bodybuilders, pro men bodybuilders. So if she's going to step on stage with them, like Chris was just saying, to win the NPC and then win the IPB, it's two entirely different things.
The women's physique division is still evolving, and I like the direction it's taking for certain. In the figure division, LaToya Watts wins that. I mean, this has got to be one of the most competitive groupings in the entire show, divisions in the entire show, Lewis. She probably beat about 300 girls that were competing against her. She's got one of the tiniest waists I've ever seen, kind of reminiscent of Candice Lewis, we mentioned before. She's got a great V-taper. You interviewed her. Give me some insight into who she is and what she's about.
Yeah, I mean, she's just been working at this for a little while, and she's heard the comparison actually from Candice Lewis before. So her waist is just very tiny. her glutes pop out a lot. And I think the girl who actually gave her the most competition in the show was actually the girl in her own class.
I agree with that.
Who is actually probably very similar, her same exact steep, same tiny waist, same everything, but she edged her out there. I think if either one of those two girls was in the overall, either one would have won the overall.
The great thing is both got their pro card. 2 pro cards to every fit class in the figure division. Congratulations, LaToya Watts. Let's talk about the women's bodybuilding division, Chris, which really didn't have the turnout that I had expected, because usually the pro qualifiers are pretty stacked. This show wasn't, but it was stacked with talent. Let's talk about the overall for a second. Margie Martin, who won the women's heavyweight division, has oodles of muscle. She's big. She's got nice shape, but I didn't think her conditioning was stat superb from behind. I was a little actually almost like miffed that she actually won her class, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, I thought she was big and she was round, and she strikes me as somebody who has spectacular, I hate that word, but potential. But her condition was nothing to write home about compared to people who she ended up beating in the overall.
Now, she beat Ann Sheehan in that heavyweight class. You interviewed Margie Martin because obviously she won the women's bodybuilding overall. What was your impression of her?
I mean, it's one of those biased things too. She's out of San Diego and World Gym, so I've seen her train.
You can't always root for your friends.
I know. That's why I say it's a kind of biased thing. But putting that aside, I think the reason she won that class and the reason she won the overall is, I look at everything just of a straight score point. There's conditioning you get, like say 10 points for, and then you get 10 points for fullness, or size, shape, symmetry, and so I think when you add up all the points, her size, her shape, her density, whatever, and then you factor in condition, you may be out-conditioned by somebody, but if you can add up all the other points and you beat them by 1 point, you're still going to win. I think that's how she won the heavyweights. I think that's how she won the overall.
I was fine with her winning the heavyweights because I thought that she had an enormous amount of muscle, and I thought that she flowed pretty well. I was very impressed with the light heavyweight champion, Shannon Courtney, who I thought was kind of a cross between Ana Luisa Freitas from Brazil there in the pro ranks, and she's someone that we really haven't seen. She's got some of the best quads I've ever seen in women's bodybuilding. Her glutes, her hamstrings, her calves are ridiculous, and she's got a great back, and she's pretty. I really thought that this was the look that they were looking for in bodybuilding, and I was actually shocked that she didn't win the overall.
Yeah, she was my pick for the overall. I thought she looked great. She's someone who, the packages she has, the level of muscularity, she's got, great femininity. Which you don't.
That counts for a lot.
Yeah, it's something that, as a bodybuilding aficionado, you get excited about. Yeah. You sit up in your chair and say, "Wow, look at this girl."
It's amazing that she packs that much muscle on that body.
It is amazing, and that it has a good flow to it too. And I think that's a key a lot of times to women's bodybuilding is you have to have a good flow, a good structure, and she has it.
In the women's bikini division, Hanukkah Villa wins that overall there. She was from that short class, Lewis, and it's so hard to judge these bikini girls, especially in the overall, because they all look so good. And sometimes the taller girls look a little more impressive. Very rarely do you see a short girl win the overall, although we've seen it before. Talk to me a little bit. You interviewed her. What's her background and where does she come from?
Well, she's actually married to Chris Villa. He's a big time NPC physique guy.
That's Chris's wife. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she's only been competing she says a year and 10 months, but she took the last 8 months off. So she's really only been competing for a year.
Oh my God.
She wasn't even planning. She thought maybe she could hope for top 5 when she showed up here. If you really want to come out and party, steps on stage, not only wins her class in a pro card, but wins the overall. And I gotta say, for someone with her looks and everything, she pulls off the bangs. I don't really see the bangs like that.
Yeah, she got the dark hair with the bangs. Yeah.
But it works for her, so all that combined, I mean, she comes out Miss USA, not even planning on, maybe being top 5.
Chris, isn't it amazing how these men's physique and women's physique competitors, they can compete like twice and they get their pro cards, and they're like, I can't even believe it,
Not only do they compete twice, I can't tell you how many people I've run into, especially in the females, and they said, oh, my boyfriend or my husband said you should give it a shot. Mm-hmm. And they think, oh, I'd never be good. I can't look like that. And they get their pro card within 6, 7, 8 months.
Congratulations to Hanukkah. And last but not least, in the men's physique division, Xavier Gaydon wins that overall. Now, you actually know this guy, and you actually were talking to me about it before the show, and you said this is going to be a record of sorts. Tell me the record.
Well, he's the first active duty U.S. Marine to win their pro card in men's physique. So
how does he have time to train for this?
Not only is he that, but he's a single father of 2 little girls. So he's got 2 little girls. He always comes to the local shows. He's got 2 little girls running around.
That's crazy, huh?
They're hitting their poses. This is my dad's pose. and this is my bikini pose. So they're all doing their stuff. So he's got his hands full. So to be able to translate, he got 4th at USA's. I think it was last year before. And then he went out to like more to East Coast Nationals and got dusted out there. 3rd call out. So to come here, in this show, with men's physique, for me, it's so hard because to me, a lot of the guys, they all have the same similar kind of physiques. It's hard to pick out. I see a guy in the 3rd call out, easily be in the 1st call out as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's tough to judge these.
Yeah, so he comes out and he, right in the center there in the E-class, I'm like, man, I was telling you in the pre-judging, if he wins this, and then I find out you text me the winner. I was outside in the lobby, he's like, Xavier Skito. I'm like, oh my God, it couldn't be better, because now he's Mr. USA.
Well, congratulations, Xavier. I think they were calling him the X-Man or something like that. Is that his nickname?
That's his nickname. He's going to have to talk to Tony Freeman about that, though. So
yeah, I don't know. There might be a copyright infringement. We have to call, who's lawyer.
Yeah. Well, it would take you 6 months to straighten it all out.
Once again, John Lindsay, thanks for putting on a fantastic show out here in Las Vegas, Nevada for the USA Championships. For now, though, I'm Dave Palumbo with Chris Aceto and Louis Uridel for RxMuscle.com.